So we now have episode 14 of the final season of The Walking Dead. This episode is called The Rotten, and if you haven't seen the episode and you don't want to get anything spoiled for you, do not watch this review, because this review is going to contain full spoilers for the episode. You've been warned. So as usual with the the middle stage of the final seasons of The Walking Dead, there's more than two storylines happening at once, and by far the more interesting one followed Aaron and his group rather than, surprisingly, you would think it'd be Daryl's group, but I actually found Aaron's storyline to be a lot more enjoyable. But to talk about Daryl's one first, him and Rosita are at work. They've been told to go somewhere, then two soldiers come out and say, actually, we need you to go here. And then what they are told to go and do is, there's this big mansion and there's a shit ton of money in there, and Sebastian tells Daryl and Rosita to go in there and get the money. They obviously say, no, why the fuck would we do that? Because there's literally hundreds of walkers just around the building. But then, of course, Sebastian, being the little prick he is, he then decides to threaten Judith, RJ and Coco. Daryl immediately gets a knife and holds it to his neck. And Sebastian's like, whoa, why would I threaten your kids? I'm saying they could have a better life. He's just a prick. Sebastian Milton is literally just a prick. So they then Rosita and they're like, well, we have to do this now, otherwise our kids are in danger. So they cover themselves in walker guts. They make their way in there, and once they get in there, there's no electricity to open up the safe. So then they find out there's actually someone in there, and it's revealed that this isn't the first time Sebastian's done this. He's done this a few times trying to get the money, and clearly has never succeeded if he's constantly bringing people in and out. Of course, getting Daryl in the group in there, of course you're going to get in there, because Daryl is a badass survivor. Of course, Rosita is a badass survivor. They are going to be able to get in there. They haven't seen what we've seen, but we know for a fact that they are going to be able to get the stuff. But then they have to go get power, so Rosita stays with the woman, talking to the woman, while Daryl goes off to turn on the generator. How he turns on the generator is he has to stick a scissors in the electric box, but once he puts it in halfway and then it sparks and everything, so a shit ton of walkers come in. So Daryl then has to kill all these walkers, but as he's doing it, he's ripping off a piece of his armor, really going fuck the Commonwealth in a way. He's not like literally saying that, but you can tell by him he's been with the Commonwealth just for Judith and RJ. Since Michonne left, he goes, okay, well, I'm now responsible for these kids and I can't just go off and live in the woods by myself now. I've got to stay with them. I've got to give them the best life possible. So he's doing this just for them, but you can tell by him in this moment that literally by the end of the scene he's not wearing anything. I think he has his knee guards on, that's about it, but the whole armor has just been ripped off. Every time he killed a walker, he just ripped off a piece of it. You can tell by him he's just like, fuck this. But then they get the door open, they end up going in there, they're trying to crack open the safe, but as they do it, they set off the alarm to the building, and the alarm is going crazy. Walkers start coming in. This woman who was trapped in the cell, her name was April, starts freaking out. And I was thinking, as they were closing the door, I'm like, why are you closing the door? If you close the door, you're not going to be able to get out. Luckily, for some reason, the door didn't lock, even though it locked with April. Maybe it's because the power was gone the first time. I don't really know. But then all you hear is gunshots going outside. And at first, I don't know why I thought this, but my immediate reaction was, is Sebastian out there clearing out the walkers? I don't really know why, because of course Sebastian wouldn't do that. I don't think it was actually me thinking that Sebastian was out there himself. I think it was more that, did he send the two guards that were with them up on top of the hill in to save them? Of course it wasn't. It was actually Carol and Mercer. At first I was thinking, I saw Mercer, like, yeah, probably makes sense. Mercer probably found out what was happening and came there. Then I saw Carol and I was thinking, why the fuck is Carol here? But then of course she says, of course, start of the episode, her and Daryl had a date to meet up for lunch. Daryl never shut up, so she went to Mercer. Now they're here. I do wonder how they found out the information of how they got there. I wonder how that whole thing kind of got revealed to the two of them. But they get in there, they kill majority of the walkers. They don't have a lot of bullets left, so then they're leaving there. They kind of just do the old guts trick to get out there. The Rosita takes off her armor. She puts it on April, because April wasn't a soldier. She was just an ordinary woman who got so desperate for money because she had kids. So they start to make it their way out there. The they're walking out. April, I think a piece of her armor gets hooked on a walker, and then all these walkers just land on her. Everyone starts killing the walkers around them so they can go over and see if she's okay. They go over, her guts are all out on the ground. The woman has died now. It was for a character who was only in 2 seasons, it was a sad enough death. I felt like they developed her enough to make it a sad death by saying she has kids. She's only there because she was desperate for money, really showing that this is pretty much the real world to the people of the Commonwealth. So it was a sad enough death, not like a tragic death, but it was disappointing to see anyways. And they get up to the top of the hill, and then the 2 soldiers just stand there waiting. They're so arrogant about it, and then Mercer was up to asking them about it, and they go, we don't answer to you. And they're really obnoxious to Mercer, so Mercer then puts a bullet in their head. And you see him, everyone's just silence, everyone's just looking, everyone's in shock. Mercer carries the duffel bags in because he says he's not going to be checked. Then they're sitting in the area. Mercer starts talking to Sebastian's like, oh yeah, they didn't make it. Sebastian leaves Daryl and Rosita with some cash and he goes off. Carol goes to then talk to Lance Hornsby, and we actually get revealed that Lance Hornsby was actually part of this. It was his idea. He knew about this, and it really goes to show. I was kind of expecting it to be Lance didn't know about this. My prediction is Pamela Milton is actually a good guy, and Lance and Sebastian are actually the villains, because Pamela hasn't done anything yet to me to make her come across as a villain. She's only just like, she's just kind of doing her job. She's kind of put in the power position of the Commonwealth, and I feel like for me she hasn't done anything to make her seem like a villain as of yet anyways. But what I'm seeing with Mercer, especially when they're all just in that circle, silence, looking around at each other, there's a point in the comics where Mercer decides to say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, the Commonwealth is corrupt. And I feel like something in his mind clicked there where he's thinking, the Commonwealth is corrupt. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until a better option comes along, but there will be a better option soon, and I don't know who it's going to be. In the comic books it was Rick. I don't know who it's going to be in the TV series, but I'm really excited to see when that's going to click in Mercer's head. I imagine at the end of next week's episode, end of it 15, and then 16 we're going to see something big happening. But at the end of 15 I think something's going to happen, and Mercer's going to join our group and be part of the survivors, and he's going to do something that's going to help dethrone Pamela and Lance and Sebastian. They're all going to be gone soon, and Mercer's going to have a big hand in that. And the other storyline followed Aaron, Gabriel, Negan, that whole group in that community. So we saw at the end of last week's episode where Aaron, Maggie and all them have made their way to the community. They're making their way through, and then Aaron, Negan, everyone, they all reunite. Aaron and Maggie are a bit standoffish. Negan at first, Maggie for obvious reasons. Aaron, I was a bit surprised by it. Of course, they never had a great relationship, but I was just a bit surprised that he was standoffish with him. Lydia was also standoffish, but just because she said, you never said goodbye, you just left, and he said it was a smart decision for me to just leave. But it was pretty cool. We got some good reveals with Negan in that group. One is that the woman he was with last week, Annie, that's his wife. He remarried, which was a genuine shock for me. I was genuinely shocked when he put his finger up to show his wedding ring. I just assumed, like, there was a point where she gets up beside him, she goes very close, she says, I trust you more than anyone. I just assumed they were friends. I genuinely did not see him ever remarrying just after Lucille. I just didn't see that happen. Genuinely surprised. It was also revealed in the episode that she's 12 weeks pregnant, which is another thing, was very, very surprising. And Maggie gives her a dirty look. Maggie's quite disgusted by the whole thing. Negan also revealed everything to Annie, so Annie knows everything about the Savior War, Rick being trapped in a prison for years, everything with the Whisperers. She knows everything. Herschel was also a stowaway in the back of the car that Maggie and the group made their way to there in, and so the Herschel gets kidnapped by the Commonwealth. Negan is then the one who goes and saves Herschel, and then Maggie knew Glenn was killed by someone, a bad man. That's all he knew. And then Negan say, oh, your mom didn't like me as a bad man years ago, I did bad things. And then Herschel realizes, you're the man who killed my dad. So he holds a gunpoint at him. Negan talks him down. Lydia comes up, takes the gun, and then Negan just breaks down crying. It is a really great scene between the two of them. I don't know why I assumed we had seen something with them in the past, but this is the first full scene with them, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Even by the end of the episode, Negan says to Herschel, I know we've got a lot of shit to get through, but you go home with your mom, you rebuild that community, and then when you're older in a few years, come back and we'll have it out. So I don't know, is there going to be a time skip, because we all know there's a Negan and Maggie show coming. Is there going to be a time skip of 5 years, 6 years, again, just so Herschel can be old enough so him and Negan can have it out? But I was genuinely shocked to see how like Herschel's immediate reaction is to hold him at gunpoint. So Maggie really taught him well. But they're going throughout the community. They're going to get people getting shot dead. They set up something where Aaron, Elijah, and Gabriel get to the roof. They end up killing all the people around them except for Toby, and then Toby's kind of trying to talk them down, saying, "Oh, just what you're doing doesn't matter. We'll do this. It's gonna be okay." And then Maggie and Annie come up, hold him at gunpoint. Aaron loads fucking 6 or 7 bullets into the guy. He falls off the roof, ends up getting killed by walkers. So now Toby's gone, which is, he had to be killed. There was no way there's no way they were both going to leave the building alive. Either one of them was going to kill the other. There's no way they were going to leave that building holding hands. But I was disappointed because I did like his character. He was quite villainous. He was a memorable villain character, where we've had so many in The Walking Dead that are just throwaways for like an episode or two. But this guy was a memorable one. He was menacing. He was fucking brutal. He had no mercy for anyone. And as a villain, for me, he really, really worked. We also did get so we know that Annie is pregnant with Negan's child, and now I'm wondering, we know Negan's not going to die because we got the spin-off coming, but is Maggie going to kill Annie as like kind of a fuck you to Negan, as in revenge for killing Glenn? I can see it happening, but also I feel like if Maggie done that, there's no coming back for that. I feel like Negan had every right to kill Glenn and Abraham. Of course, it was brutal. It was worse for us because we had been with these characters, Glenn in particular, since episode 1 of the series, so I felt this more. But our group went into one of the Savers outposts and killed everyone there as they were sleeping. That's so much worse. So even though we were close to Glenn, we loved the character of Glenn. I feel like Negan had every right to do what he done. If we were following Negan throughout the entire series, we would have loved to see Glenn and Abraham get their heads bashed in, because we would have seen what that group had done. You get where Maggie is coming from. You get that, like, she was pregnant at the time he killed Glenn in front of her. You get why that was brutal. You understand why Maggie's so sad about it. But even Negan called her at the start of the season. Where did Gracie come from? Rick killed Gracie's father, and then Aaron took Gracie in. So you can see where both parties come from. Even Annie said it in this episode. He goes, "We've all got blood in our hands. We've all done horrible things." But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Maggie kill Annie. And I think if Maggie did kill Annie, I don't know. Like the start of the season, Maggie wasn't one of my favourite characters. At the moment, she's not really one of my favourite characters. She's completely different from the Maggie that left, which is something Lauren Cohan said coming into the season. But honestly, if she did end up killing Annie, I don't know. I really don't know. But we do get the reveal of who was the one who stole all the weapons, and it was Leah. At first, when they showed the flashback to 2 weeks earlier to the whole thing going down, my first thought was, oh fuck, imagine it was CRM. But of course it wasn't the CRM. I don't know why my brain went there. I completely forgot Leah was still out there, but it was Leah. Really excited to see what's going to happen with Leah moving forward. Are her and Daryl going to reunite, or is Maggie going to take her out? Or I don't really know. Really excited. I imagine the group that Negan's from, I kind of was assuming that they're not going to stay there just because the Commonwealth is just going to send more troops there. I was under the assumption that they're all going to go to the hilltop. You're going to be part of the hilltop, because they've lost so many people. There's so many people. There's no recognizable faces in Hilltop anymore. So I kind of thought Annie and Negan going there. Maggie and Negan, I don't know how that's going to work out, but I assume that group is going to join the hilltop. I'd like to see that. I want to see more, again, familiar faces of the hilltop, but I don't. Honestly, I really don't know what's going to happen. Gabriel and Aaron are going to go back to Commonwealth because, of course, there's no one alive to question them of what went down. But it is interesting. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with them. Is it going to be revealed? Lance is someone that I am a fan of. Lance, I think his character is really good, but I don't know what the hell's going to happen moving forward with him, because honestly, everything with Lance is pretty much just for the TV series, because in the comic book series he was a nothing character. He showed up once or twice. I don't really remember him from the comic book series, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen with his character in the show. I don't know how it's all going to wrap up, but it is really insane that we're now coming to the end of part 2 of the final season. It's so sad. We've only got we're going into our 10th. We're going to the 10th last episode of the series. Very, very sad. But Fear the Walking Dead's going to be back soon. I'm a big fan of that show too. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the last 2 episodes of the part 2 of the final season of The Walking Dead, as well as the back half of season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead, Madison is returning. Very excited for that. If you want to hear all my thoughts on those episodes moving forward, click that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for watching.